In today's video, we're going to talk about James Gunn's recent comments about Superman Legacy. I'm beginning to think there is no plan past Superman Legacy, and they have no ideas what they're doing for Batman Brave and the Bold because he literally keeps contradicting everything he says. He keeps being so coy. I get it. The future of the DC universe will be indicative to the general audience, but it's almost like he's trying to lose the little DC fans there is by contradicting himself. Also, we're going to talk about Blue Beetle because that's another interesting subject. Review embargo list 2 days before the movie comes out. For what reason? People seen that movie 4 weeks ago. Generally, when that happens, that means the studio's happy with the movie. And some other DC Universe news. So, yo, it is freaking good YouTube bullshit. If you're new around, make sure subscribe to never miss any of the Gaiju, Monsterverse, Marvel, DC, pop culture-based content that I try to do on a daily basis. Could subscribe to the channel, turn notifications on, and let me know down below. Does James Gunn have any freaking idea what he's doing? Because I get it. Everyone keeps going, yeah, but look what he did with Guardians. He made you care about Raccoon. Cool story, bro. That does not mean he, alongside Pete Safran, can build out a full DC cinematic universe. He's losing the audience before he's even done anything because he keeps contradicting what he's saying. He hasn't debunked the Superman Legacy plot leak. That means it's confirmed, right? Because he's famous for debunking stuff. Somebody please take over James Gunn PR. He needs a PR manager. He's an absolute nightmare. So let's break it down. Again, they're trying to hyperbolic market the Blue Beetle movie. At the Blue Beetle screening with my partner Pete Safran, I can't wait for audiences to meet Jamie Reyes, who will be an amazing part of the DCU going forward. No, he won't. So this movie's not part of the DCU, right? But there's a literal reference in this movie to Henry Cavill, Man of Steel, Superman, but it's set in its own universe. James Gunn didn't change anything to do with this movie, but you see LexCorp and Ace Chemical background in one of the trailers. It's clear he had some part to play, so let me get this straight. It's not set in the DCEU, it's not set in DCU, but there's a literal reference to Henry Cavill's Superman, but that's cool because in Barbie, there's a reference to the Snyder Cut. So basically, what you're saying is, and from the reviews I've read, the Blue Beetle movie is set in the Snyderverse to the point where the director literally said there's homage to Zack Snyder in this movie. God, James Gunn, clueless. He really is clueless. He needs to hire someone to do PR for him, to take over his social media, so he stops making himself look foolish. So it's coming more apparent to me that Henry Cavill actually said no to James Gunn. I don't think it was the other way around. When James Gunn came out and said that Henry Cavill won't be the Superman going forward, I think just like Ben Affleck not directing, because remember, Ben Affleck was so keen to direct, took a meeting as like, yeah, I don't want to work with this DC studio at all. So Henry Cavill, exclusive, confirmed. Henry Cavill stepped down because he didn't want to be part of the plans after James Gunn laid it out to him, because based on his most recent comments, that's the only way you can decipher it. So when I keep saying it's not a hard reboot, it's literally not a reboot at all. I honestly think Josh from the Denzer Nerd, when, you know, that Twitter controversy a few months ago, I honestly think James Gunn doesn't like Henry Cavill. So let's break down what James Gunn said. Amongst those on this slate is Superman. In the initial stages, our story will be focusing on the early part of Superman's life. So the character would not be played by Henry Cavill, more like Henry Cavill told you to go most likely, but Henry Cavill's too much of a gentleman, a British gentleman, to say that. So on Threads, of all places, James Gunn likes to kind of respond to people in the most random places. Someone said this. So in Blue Beetle, at least the commercial, Jamie knows Superman, who Superman is. And you've said Blue Beetle is in the DCU. So is your young Superman set in the past? I was never making a young Superman movie, just a Superman movie. Yet you keep talking about the Kryptonian heritage and the fact that you want to do Clark Kent at the Daily Planet, etc. This is my honest opinion. James Gunn just does not have to come out and say, I want to recast Superman, Batman, etc. But he won't actually come out and say that because that would be too direct. It's all right saying, oh, it's so refreshing to have a head of a studio being so transparent. So people need to understand younger and young are different words. Cool story, bro. Okay, Henry Cavill's 40. But he can easily pass for 31, 32. I've got nothing against the new Superman actor. David Korsnett is just over 30, right? I'm not actually looking, but I'm pretty sure he's around that age. So Cavill could easily still play someone in the 30s. Easily. Young and younger aren't the same thing. You guys are all talking like Henry Cavill's like 50 years old. Paul Rudd, Ant-Man, he's 50. Iron Man played Iron Man into his 50s. So this whole age factor is complete nonsense, and he's just confirmed it. I never said it was a young Superman story. Gal Gadot is staying, and she's literally a few years younger than Cavill. Honestly, does James Gunn actually have a plan? I don't think there is a plan in play here. I think he's in over his head. He doesn't know what the frickin' hell he's doing. Is this movie ever going to see the light of day? I don't know. I honestly am starting to think Henry Cavill walked away from the role, but he's never, ever going to come out and say that, because it was like, yeah. And he's lied multiple, well, maybe not lied, misled people. The Flash reboots everything and starts a new universe and starts everything. Cool story, bro. The Flash is the greatest comic book movie ever. Right, it tanked. I think the Flash movie was fine. It was decent, wasn't great, wasn't bad. It was okay. But James Gunn said it was the greatest movie ever, pretty much. And it reboots the new universe. So can you take what he says at face value? No. There's a reason people like Kevin Feige. It's because he doesn't come out and publicly say stuff on X.com or Twitter or Instagram threads. He says stuff in PR events or press relation events or press junkets or Comic-Con or D23. Yes, Kevin Feige's on all these social media platforms, but you don't actually see him saying this stuff. So to me, I honestly think he's got no idea what he's doing. So the way he described it was going to be a Clark in late 20s to early 30s, and we get to see him in Metropolis doing a bunch of Clark Kent stuff. But his most recent comments are so vague, you can't even work out what the freaking hell he's doing. I was never making a young Superman. And he's put it in quote marks. Movie, just a Superman movie. So why did you talk so much about he's going to be the American dream, he's going to have all the American principles and all this stuff, he's going to save cats from trees. So it's a Superman movie. Like I've said, I honestly think Henry Cavill wanted to do Man of Steel 2. He had a meeting with James Gunn, as far as we're aware, that meeting happened. And I don't think Henry Cavill wanted to do what James Gunn wanted to do with Superman, and they decided to go separate ways. I honestly think Henry Cavill walked away from Superman now. After James Gunn saying this, it's an absolute night. If James Gunn was just a director of Superman, it wouldn't be as bad. But he's co-head of the whole studio, supposedly building out a cinematic universe that spreads over animation that no one cares for, spreads across to the video game universe as well, and spreads across to the movie universe as well. Very interesting. So Blue Beetle came out. Well, the reviews came out. Review embargo is very weird. So there was so much negativity about Blue Beetle online. And then all of a sudden, because Blue Beetle gets an 88 on Rotten Tomato, the narrative changes. It's down to 82 based on 84 reviews. But there seems to be a message, and I don't think the message is right, and the marketing for this movie is so freaking weird. So Latino, what is a Latino? Latino is a region. It's Mexico, it's the Caribbean, right? A Latino isn't just someone that speaks Spanish. Latino refers to a region which is Latin America, Mexico, the Caribbean. And this is not the first Latino movie. Zorro was a superhero. We've had Latino super character in Shazam 2. And from reading these reviews, it's almost like they're trying to tell you that Latinos invented family. No, like families may be very important to the Latinos, but Latinos didn't invent families. So let's go over some of these comments because, yeah, they are pretty decent, but I just find it a bit weird. The film's biggest strength lies in the depiction of Latino culture and families, but it suffers from horribly uninteresting, antagonistic, a lack of creativity. It's entertaining enough, but George Lopez's wacky uncle is the only thing I remember. Whilst not reinventing the genre wheel, I've seen a lot of people saying this reinvents the superhero narrative. It just looks like Shazam 2 to me. Puts heart and emotion and unapologetically Latino energy and culture, which has so many differences between countries, but united on the desire to enjoy life and protect our people. So this movie seems like it's about Blue Beetle's family rather than being about the Blue Beetle movie, which it's supposed to be. So my good buddy Grace Randolph, this is on Rotten Tomato, like Spideyverse and the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle, Blue Beetle goes harder than expected. While a lot of attention has been given to its Latino representation, why is that the main narrative of this movie? which is very well done. This is also a fun superhero origin story. A potential star is born. So most of the reviews for Blue Beetle are pretty generic, using keywords like Latino, family, and that's pretty much it. And then saying it visually looks cool and stuff like that. Chris Parker from 3C Films didn't realize it's on becoming Rotten Tomato verified. A super charming and fun superhero origin story. Blue Beetle will leave you wanting more from Jamie and the Reyes family. Finally, an actual review that actually says something other than the same of everything else. Robert, flickering myth. Despite a charming and fun ensemble, Latino people now have their own very own generic DCEU movie. So you're basically saying it's Shazam 2, Shazam, but with a Latino family stuck in. It's going to be interesting to see what the general perception of this movie is, because all these comments, they're all the same. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, but the main part of a movie shouldn't be Latino family, because that is Shazam 1 and Shazam 2 to me. Literally screams Shazam 1 and Shazam 2 without, actually, there is a Latino in the Shazam family. So it'd be interesting to see when the real reactions come out. The review embargo did lift yesterday night as well, as there was a UK screener press event last night. And generally people are saying it's much better than what the trailers say or how the trailers portray it. Warner Bros. Aren't very good at marketing movies, and it's clear either this movie is pretty good or they've marketed it badly, because it looks pretty generic from all the trailers. So like always, guys, let us know what the frickin' hell's going on with James Gunn. Doesn't need to cast a new Superman. It's not a young Superman story. It's a Superman story. The frickin' hell does that mean? Just a Superman movie. He's very coy with how he talks. Does he mean early years of Metropolis? But he didn't say it's a Clark Kent stroke Superman movie. He just said I was never making a young Superman movie, just a Superman movie. No idea. In fact, please, can someone let me know down below, what the hell is the DC future going to be? Because no one can actually break it down, because James Gunn keeps contradicting what he said previously. And also, let me know if you've seen Blue Beetle. Some people will be watching it later today, I presume, and last night. Is it good? Should I review it? Like always, guys, check us out on Instagram at WatchGTC. The beautiful face behind the beautiful voice. Check us out on Twitter and X.com. And I will catch you in another video very soon. Catch you later.